All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we're diving into something that really grabbed my attention.
No.
Yeah, it's this whole idea of looking at DevOps,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DevOps through a scientific lens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And get this, picture it as a vodcast.
Mm.
So, those videos that break things down and make them like super clear.
Yeah, I get you.
This could be especially interesting if you're a tech enthusiast or if you just, love to see how the digital world ticks.
I can see how those two worlds, science and DevOps, they might seem totally different at first.
Right.
But honestly, when you dig a little deeper, the connections, they're really quite fascinating.
Yeah, you sent over some stuff about DevOps, and it feels like everyone's tossing that word around like it's the hottest thing since sliced bread.
It's a bit of a buzzword these days, you're right.
It is. But for someone who's maybe, let's say, managing a team of developers but isn't a tech wizard themselves, how would you boil down the essence of DevOps?
Okay, so imagine this. You've got your developers, right? The masterminds behind the software.
Right.
And then you've got your operations crew, the folks who keep everything running smoothly.
Keeping the lights on.
Exactly. DevOps, at its core, it's about tearing down the walls between these two.
So no more silos.
No more silos. It's all about shared responsibility, like constant communication and automating as much as you can.
So it's less about pointing fingers when something goes wrong and more about celebrating successes together.
That's the spirit. High fives all around.
I like it.
And, for that manager we were talking about, what this means is faster releases, fewer bugs slipping through the cracks and reaching the users,
Right.
and ultimately a product that's way more stable and dependable.
Makes sense.
Think of those big companies like Netflix or Amazon. They're constantly pushing out updates, sometimes multiple times a day, and that's partially because they've nailed their DevOps game.
I'm really intrigued by this idea of viewing DevOps through a scientific lens.
Mm.
It seems a little, unexpected.
Right.
How does that actually play out in the real world?
Okay, so think back to the scientific method.
Okay.
You observe, you come up with a hypothesis, you test it out, you analyze the results, and then you refine, you iterate. DevOps teams, they're basically doing this all the time.
Interesting.
They're constantly monitoring how their systems are performing, looking for those bottlenecks, experimenting with new tools or processes, digging into the data, and it's all this never-ending cycle of improvement.
So it's like their entire code base is one massive experiment.
In a way, yeah. And just like in proper scientific research, good documentation, clear communication, those are essential.
Absolutely.
You need to keep track of what you've already tried, what worked, what flopped.
Right.
So you can build upon that knowledge and keep moving forward.
And now here's where things get really exciting. The vodcast angle.
Yeah.
A vodcast, I think, has the potential to demystify DevOps, especially for people who learn best by seeing things.
Visual learners, absolutely.
What kind of visuals, in your mind, would be the most impactful for showcasing these concepts?
Oh, the possibilities are huge. Imagine time lapses of code deployments, almost like watching a skyscraper being built and fast forward.
I like that.
Or visualizations of network traffic, flowing through a system, highlighting where those bottlenecks are.
Aren't we like an X-ray of the internet?
Exactly. And even, interviews with DevOps experts, not just talking heads, but actually seeing them in their element, working with their teams, collaborating.
Right. Yeah.
It's about bringing that human side to the forefront.
So we're talking about going beyond just explaining what DevOps is. We're showing the why, the how,
Exactly.
in a way that's both informative and engaging.
Precisely. Now, who would watch this?
Yeah, that's the question.
Definitely your developers, your IT folks, but also managers, product owners, even students who are, exploring what a career in tech might look like.
And this is where you, our amazing listeners, come in. If this podcast actually existed, what would you be most eager to see? What aspects of DevOps would you want to see brought to life visually? What kind of experts would you be lining up to hear from?
This brings up a really interesting point. Could this be the way we learn complex technical stuff in the future? It's not just about slogging through dry manuals anymore.
Yeah.
It's about immersing yourself in a visual, captivating experience.
Look, the difference between reading about the Amazon rainforest and actually trekking through it, right?
Absolutely.
So we've taken this deep dive into DevOps, look at it through a scientific lens.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to hit that subscribe button on this imaginary podcast.
I'm with you.
What other fields could benefit from this visual learning revolution? That's something to chew on, folks. Keep those brains buzzing.
Keep thinking.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.